Welcome back to the Carolina Justice Report. This is Rainey Romero with the lovely law firm, chatting again with my favorite ladies, attorneys Sarah Austin and Amy Lawrence. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Good. How are you?
Stick with us. We're going to go into a deep dive with the Murdaugh mysteries about where is the money. Yeah.
So we talked about dram shops in the first one.
Right.
But you can sue a bar. They have $1 million liability insurance now. Bars.
Minimum.
Any place that serves alcohol, so even gas stations that serve beer or wine, they'll have to have $1 million liquor liability insurance policy. And so I know that Mallory Beach's attorneys and the other boat crash victims too, because they were all hurt. She just passed away, unfortunately. They're suing the gas station, the bars that overserved these people, but then also they can sue Paul Murdaugh and Alec Murdaugh and Maggie because they owned the boat and Paul was driving. And so now I think there's just so many victims in this case and there's just not enough money.
So they did own the boat. Why did I read somewhere that it was some sort of business?
So they own the business. So from what I understand, there was an LLC and this boat was used for like as a hunting and fishing guided boat. And so they're denying the insurance claim on the boat because there's a very large insurance policy.
Right.
Just like they had on their home. That they're denying it because this boat was not used
For the business.
for the business purpose. It was used for a personal purpose.
Right.
So they shouldn't have to.
But it was like Alec Murdaugh's LLC.
Right.
So they owned the boat through a different
So
name.
it's still...
But it's all
yeah.
the same
A name
person, the
yeah.
same liability.
Rose by any other name, right?
It was the same person. So there's
all
just not
flows
enough
through.
money for all of the victims, I think,
No.
even with suing the bars. And that's why they're doing an accounting and trying to figure out where all this money went. And then when you find out he's moving money, it sounds like he's still moving money from jail on those calls, which is why they're trying to keep them all secret.
Well, and let's talk about what we know about why he stole from these victims. Was he having issues with money?
Well,
I
this
don't
is
think that's what we really still don't know.
that's the one thing we don't know. And Harpoolian and Jim Griffin would like us to believe that he spent it all on opioids.
That's
we
a
all-
lot.
that's
a lot of
to
money, yeah.
spend
That's
on
a-
opioids.
That's a lot of oxy. You know what I mean?
And that is a very competent man
Yeah.
to be, he's representing people in court and doing all these and running all these businesses and hunting every day. And someone who's spending $4.3 million on opioids
And
is
no
not
one's
functioning at that
questioning.
level.
Right. Unless he was some sort of drug dealer that might come out. I don't know.
Yeah, but unless he wasn't taking the opioids.
Yeah.
Like they said that he was.
I think we all know someone who's addicted to an opioid, right? That's an epidemic in this country, and when I've never met a functioning heroin addict. Have you?
Not a practicing attorney who's,
I've never met a functioning
handling
heroin addict. Period.
And his law firm's trusting him to handle all that kind of money.
Right. I don't know anybody who's doing millions of dollars worth of opioids, heroin, OxyContin. That is a functioning
Right.
if they're dead.
So that story doesn't make a lot of
Right.
sense. That's
And
the
physically,
big,
you
the big
can
question
tell
is like where
when that,
where the money came
He's still
from.
pink.
Yeah.
We know that it went to his Forge account, but then what happened to it after that, I think, is the bigger question that
Yeah.
we still don't have an answer to.
No, he's tied. He's tied in with known drug dealers. I mean, we know this because he owned a land with a joint tenancy in common, and was given land by this man who'd done prison time, right? Who'd been accused of this huge. I think it was back in the '80s, late '80s, and we just see all these ties, and it's like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
And when it's kind of like with the Stephen Smith case where all these things, it's like we can't really prove it, but like, why is this one name that just keeps coming up every time in these situations? And
The good thing about bank accounts is you can see where stuff goes, and if it's a bunch of cash being withdrawn or all that money is going into his Forge account, where's it going? I think that's what SLED and the FBI are honestly investigating now, and so I think we're going to get answers one day.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's coming soon.
Or I don't think it's coming from Alec Murdaugh himself
No.
or anyone else connected, because there's going to, or maybe, there'll be more people arrested and then those people will start talking.
Right.
Because
Or heaven forbid we find out more
House of
murders
Cards
are
eventually-
associated.
Yeah.
Right?
crumbles.
Because, an average person, you don't have any kind of murder associated with your name throughout your whole life, right?
Right.
Right.
And there are
Multiple
what
at this
1,
point.
2, 3, at least 3, 4, 5. There's at least 5, right?
Centered around this one
Yeah,
person. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Mysterious
just
deaths.
way too fishy. So everybody nationwide, I mean, we're in South Carolina, so we're extra into it, but nationwide, everybody is wondering what the heck is going on with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know, Sarah, you said on the first episode that if Netflix hasn't hopped on this yet, they really need to and make something out of this because it is a real life movie happening.
Oh, it just keeps getting crazier.
I was in San Diego last week for work, and I was eating dinner, and there was an attorney, I think another attorney, one was from Kentucky and one was from Indiana, and they both said, "What's going on with that Murdaugh murder stuff?
Yeah.
That is the craziest thing." We started talking about dinner, and they're like, their jaws just opened, like, "You can't make this shit up."
Yep.
I go, "No, you can't. You can't."
Yeah, and it's sad as a lawyer to have to. I've had this conversation so many times, even in mediation with a client, because they'll be like, "Well, what happened with?" Everybody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
I just am like, "No, I promise. Like, we're doing everything by the book, and this really is so crazy how this amount, $9 million, just vanishes from a law firm's trust account is
Yeah.
like unheard of."
Yeah.
So what are we, as we continue to update folks that are watching this, what are the things that we're looking at moving forward as far as the money goes? Are we just waiting to find out where it all went, the $9 million?
We're waiting for more grand jury indictments to come out, because that's slowly just piecing together and telling us the story of where the money went. We're looking at more charges of not just Alec, but just everybody involved. The FBI is coinciding with investigations with SLED, so we're waiting to hear what they come back with.
And do you think Mallory Beach's legal team is going to be the one that exposes most of this?
I'm not sure. I don't know how much access the court's going to give them to what the police are investigating, because it's kind of, again, that criminal and civil overlap is, we'll run into cases sometimes when there's a pending investigation, which is why I'm really shocked
That these
those
FOIAs
jail calls were
Yeah.
released, because we'll send a FOIA request for stuff related to accidents, and they won't even.
Our client is the victim.
Yeah, and they won't. The jail and the police department won't release any information until the investigation is over and the criminal case is closed. And so the criminal case against Alex is very much open. They're still investigating a bunch of stuff.
Right. So that is weird.
And the jail is giving all this information to the media, which is, I think it's legal, but it's definitely not common practice.
Yeah.
Like, somebody
Right.
at the jail
Unusual.
Well,
went
I
against
think
procedure, but
I think I think it's all open book, and I think that we see abuse of government agencies all the time in FOIA issues, 100%. But I think that they did that because I think that they know that Fitz News will sue them under the FOIA. I think that's part of the deal too, because they're so invested in this.
that Fitz News will put all the
That
power
Fitz
around
News,
it.
yeah.
That's possible. So I think the
could go
investigation
anywhere.
is twofold, right? You've got the victim's attorneys and the receiver freezing the accounts, asking all these questions, but they've got to go get court approval before they can get all these things, and they've got to request all this information. And then you've got the government, SLED, and the FBI, who can literally just get a warrant and take it all. And so it's going to be like, I think they're going to work hand in hand, and of course the government is going to help the victims get paid, and everybody wants to know the answer to the question, where did it go and how did this happen?
Right.
But I don't know who will figure it out first.
I think we've been left with a lot more questions and answers the more this unfolds.
Yep.
Which is
Wait and see kind of situation.
Well, thank you both for chatting about this.
Yeah.
We are going to keep you updated on the next Carolina Justice Report as all this unfolds. So stick with us and watch this. We are also on all social media channels. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram. We are all over the place. And we will be dropping new Carolina Justice Reports every Tuesday at 2 p.m. So keep an eye out for those. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you next time.
When life gets ugly, justice is love.